Peace, family. This is Lions Den with another news and commentary. 45, your president, saying during a Make America Great Again rally in Tampa, Florida, your president stated if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need an ID. Trump made a point in reference to his push for stronger voter ID laws across the country. Oh boy. I believe that only American citizens should vote in American elections, he said, which is why the time has come for voter ID like everything else. I'm going to go ahead and play this his speech, and I'm definitely going to give you the rest of my commentary.
We believe that only American citizens should vote in American elections, which is why the time has come for voter ID like everything else. Voter ID. You know, if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need ID. You go out and you want to buy anything, you need ID and you need your picture. In this country, the only time you don't need it, in many cases, is when you want to vote for a president, when you want to vote for a senator, when you want to vote for a governor or a congressman. It's crazy. It's crazy. The most popular person in the history of the Republican Party is Trump. Can you believe that? So I said, does that include Honest Abe Lincoln? You know, he was pretty good, right? I used to tell them all the time, the fake news, I'd say, I can be more presidential than any president in history, except for possibly Abe Lincoln with a big hat. I don't know. Abe looked pretty presidential, right? What do you think? He's tough. He's tough. I admit it, Abe Lincoln is tough. But we love Abe Lincoln.
All right, folks. You know, when he said, if you want to buy groceries, let me get this right. When he said that he want to buy groceries, you need a picture ID for that? Is that what he just said? If you want to go and buy groceries at a grocery store, that you had to put pictures use a picture ID for buying groceries? And we'll see. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to push for these voter ID laws across this country. And ladies and gentlemen, we already know what voter ID law is. You have to have a picture ID to vote. You have to have like a state ID, a valid state ID to go out and vote. And I'm gonna tell you something. This to me is now we have to have voter ID to vote for any candidate you want. So, and it's gonna hurt African Americans and Hispanic voters. Because what if they couldn't afford getting an ID? What if they couldn't even, you know, there's people who say, well, you need to buy a voter ID and try to register to vote. But what if they couldn't afford it? You know, it's kind of weird. No, let me take that back. It's not weird. It's kind of interesting. I'm gonna say it like this. It's kind of interesting that, you know, 45 wants people to pass voter IDs across the country, nationwide. So basically for, people, minorities that couldn't get voter ID or don't have time for voter ID, or not don't have time, but couldn't get it in time to get a voter ID, they were not allowed to vote. Which is so saddening because it's proven time and time again that, people, that's what I'm saying, that it's like our voter, ever since Section ever since section I believe section ever since Section 4 of the Voter Rights Act has been struck down. And that tells you right there that they're going to bring the voter ID laws across this country. So people, and it's going to make people like minorities and blacks, Hispanics, make them hard enough to even vote, whether it's here in the midterms or in 2020. And basically, he says that he's pushing for voter ID laws across this country. And if it passes through every state laws, and I just hope that you better get it before, at least before election day on 2020. Because obviously, if you can't, which means you will not be able to vote. But look what happened in the state of Ohio, for example. The U.S. Supreme Court basically upheld the voter purge, and which means that the people who didn't vote last year and the year before won't be able to vote in this year, which is 2018, and 2020 with the presidential elections 4 years later. So obviously, and then you have the situation in North Carolina when you have Republicans now trying to basically try to get gerrymandering of some counties so that people will vote Republican than Democrat. And then in the state of Texas, basically, they're pass a similar law in the state of Texas. So it seems to me that with the voter ID law, what they're trying to take away people's right to vote, and what better way than to pass the voter ID law so that people that couldn't get IDs in time will turn them away and say you can't vote. I'm sorry, you have to have ID to vote, and it can't be no college ID. But yet, some people use hunter IDs to go ahead and vote, but no college IDs. If you move to another state and ready to vote there, you can't vote there unless you have to live in that state. So it's ridiculous, and obviously it shows that if 45 have his way and passing all these laws, with the voter ID law, we are in serious trouble. Serious trouble. But the question is, what are you guys going to do about it? Are you going to go ahead and get your state ID just in time to vote? I mean, if they're going to pass those laws, my advice is go ahead and get the state IDs now. Before November, way before November, because this is August, right? You got 3 months from now to get the IDs if they pass state laws pushing for voter IDs. So you have 3 months to go ahead and get your voter ID if your state allows it, or if your state has to get a voter ID. So I would go ahead and do some research on your home state and figure out, do you have to have voter ID to vote in the midterms and in the presidential election, because which is 2020, because this is very important for people to go ahead and get your voter IDs now. If it's required by law to use voter ID, do it now. I'm just saying. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video. Share this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my reaction channel. And subscribe to my Black Junction channel for more news and commentary. That being said, is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.